Happy Monday, beautiful people. Welcome back to Conversations with Cree. I'm so happy to be here and I'm so happy to continue this platform. Today is another beautiful day and I am blessed to be able to do. This is something I like to do and I love to do, and I'm just thankful to be able to continue and be here to do the lives, to have the conversations and continue every week. This is the third month, yeah, because I started in October, so this is the third month that I've been doing Conversations with Cree, and I am happy to say that I will continue because it was some thoughts that maybe I wouldn't, just because I was thinking about, was I doing the right things? Was I reaching people? And I had confirmation after praying about it that yes, this platform is needed. I've had plenty of conversations that have confirmed to me that this is needed and that I need to continue on this journey. I'm doing this platform in order to reach others and tell my story in hopes that it will motivate others to continue, doing the things that they want to do in life, but also to confirm that no matter what you've been through, you should not look down on yourself. Just continue to do the work to heal every single day, and also tell your stories to others that you may be helpful in some type of way. Because we all have a story to tell, and God can use us and has put us here all to be able to do the things that we are willed to do. We all have a purpose in life, in this life that we're living. And I think every day that we're here, we should be focusing on how to be the best person we can be every single day. So this month, my topic of a conversation has been use your voice, and which is very important because a lot of us do not use our voices, and I am one of those people. Um, for a very long time, I don't think I used my voice because I didn't know how. I don't even think that I realized that I had a voice. I always was kind of shy, especially speaking in public or any platform. But now I am in a place God has brought me to that I realize that I have a voice and I need to use it not only to help others but to tell my story and to also glorify the goodness of God because He's the reason. Um, I have been very blessed in my life. No matter what I've been through, what the storms have been, I'm still here and I'm still standing, and I'm very grateful for that. So every week, as you all know, I always go to a scripture of the week to bring in the topic and what I'm talking about. So this particular Monday is going to be use your voice to effectively communicate with others. And that's so very important because communication is definitely key when it comes to relationships of any kind. I don't care if it's with your spouse, with your mother, your father, any relative, your kids, co-workers. We as human beings need to learn how to effectively communicate with one another because that makes or breaks relationships. So the scripture of the week is from Proverbs 15:4. And it goes, the soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. The soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. What this scripture means to me is words have power, and how you use them can be for good or bad. Um, you know the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, how they go, would never hurt me. But that's not true, because words do hurt. I think I said that right. But anyway, yes, words can be hurtful, and then especially depending on where they are coming from. We all need to be mindful of the words we use with each other, especially and thank you, especially when it, if you're communicating and is anger involved or any type of emotion, we need to be mindful of the words that we choose to speak to each other because it definitely can change a relationship. But also, once those words are spoken, you cannot take them back. And no matter what, if we didn't mean them or time has gone by and we still just like, oh no, but I didn't mean that, I'm sorry I said it. But we may can forgive the person for the words that were spoken, but a lot of times we never can forget because it is very hurtful. So a conversation isn't one-sided. It's a back and forth situation. A lot of times when we are having conversations with each other, we need to be mindful that a conversation doesn't go one way. It's two people. So we need to be able to communicate and let other people get their point across. So if I'm talking to you, you need to be listening and letting me speak without cutting people off. And I know that's hard sometimes, especially when if it's a heated argument or just a conversation. It may not be an argument, that you just really have something to say. And we have a habit of not actively listening, but we just want them to hurry up and finish what they're saying so I can say what I want to say. But conversations definitely are two ways. We have to remember to let the other person speak, just like we want them to let us speak. And don't think you have to conform to be like the person you're communicating with to get your point across. We should always be us. I know at times that, depending on the situation, we want to, kind of get into what am I trying to say? If it's somebody that we're having a conversation with and we may not feel comfortable because we might feel like the person is, has a platform or they're, more qualified than you in the conversation, then we try to conform ourselves to meet their standards. But that should never happen. We should always be, trying to be who we are, who God made us to be, because then you can be more comfortable in your conversation. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different point of view. And we all make up this world. We all are different. And that is okay. When we are all trying to be the same and not be different, then that's when things can, go wrong or whatever. I've learned that I'm Lucretia. I cannot be anyone else. So I'm very comfortable in my skin. And that wasn't always, the case for whatever reason. And sometimes just try to meet people where they are, but you should always be striving to be who you are, because you bring something different to the table, to a conversation, a different experience, and that's what is needed. We should always listen to understand, not just to get our point across, which I just spoke on. That is so much easier said than done, because when you're talking about something, especially if you're passionate about it or you have a lot of experience in it, we just want to tell everything or, get our point across. And sometimes we are not listening to understand what the other person is saying or where they're coming from. So therefore, we're not even hearing them, and we are just saying, we may be saying the same things, honestly, in just different ways. So we definitely need to learn to listen, to hear, and not just listen so we can get our turn to speak. And if we can do that, then I would believe that relationships would be so much better. It was a time that me and my husband had situations like that where we couldn't understand each other, and we actually received some tools because we had did couples therapy, and the therapist was very informative in giving us tools of how to learn to listen to each other before we would respond. And it was so funny to me now. I can laugh at it because she had us do an exercise in her office, and basically we had to say something. Like, she asked us a question and we responded, and then the other person had to let us know what we just said. And both of us messed that up pretty badly because we were listening to hear, well, not listening to hear or understand. We were just listening, I guess, from our own perspective. So every time that we tried to repeat what the other person said, we were not saying what was said. And I was just like, I know that's what I heard. You said this, and with being another person there that's neutral, she was able to tell us, like, no, that's not what he said, or no, that's not what she said. So that really taught us to, slow down. And when we're having a conversation, to try to hear the person and understand what they're saying before we speak. Because a lot of times we are in our head already thinking about what our response is going to be, and therefore we miss the whole point or don't understand what the other person is saying. And that definitely helped us in our communication to this day, that we can, have better communication. And it's very important in every relationship. Another one is try not to communicate about things while you are emotional. That's a big one for me because when you're in your emotions, like say you're upset about something and you want to talk about it, it's most likely won't go well because you are just angry, sad, and you can't logically think at that time about the facts. And the facts are important. A lot of times we lead with our feelings in a lot of situations, and sometimes feelings just not true. It's not facts. So one thing that I do, and I learned this in my own therapy, is that if I'm feeling a certain type of way and I want to have a conversation, and then I realize that, well, maybe I'm upset about it, it's not the right time to confront the person or either have a conversation. So what I do is I think about what I'm feeling and what I feel like is really upsetting me, and I write it down, either on paper in a journal, or I have a journal on my phone that I like to write in, and I write down what I'm feeling. Maybe even the conversation that I want to have with the person. And what I do is I let some time go by. I go back to it and I read it again. And if I'm still feeling those emotions or even upset about it, then I will choose to have the conversation. But at this point, it won't be at the heightened time that I'm having those, initial emotions. So it won't come off a certain way to the other person, because you may be, coming to them and they're not expecting what you're about to say. So if you come at them in the heightened emotion, they are going to get defensive because maybe they're feeling attacked. So what I've learned more than not is that once I put those emotions or those feelings down on paper, or I type them out and I let some time go by, then when I come back to it, it's not even a thing for me anymore, because I was leading from a place of emotion and it was all about feelings. So when I do that, I can go back and really think about the facts. Why am I feeling this way? What happened? Maybe I just was in a bad mood when I woke up that morning. It can be a lot of things, but it has definitely saved me arguments and misunderstandings. And I think it's something that all of us should do, because it helps. It really do. So when we are having conversations as well, and this is not just with people that we have relationship with, it may be people that we're just meeting, or say that you are in business and you have to communicate with customers about something. I think it's always good to try to find out what you have in common with each other, because when you talk about the things you have in common, that definitely breaks the ice, and you can meet at a common ground and talk about the things that you may have in common, and from that different stories may arise, or you may think that you have nothing in common, y'all can't talk about anything, but then that conversation comes up, and then you're able to really connect in a different way, and then that breaks the ice. So moving forward, you can talk about the more important things, and we all pretty much have stuff in common, whether it's our background when it comes to where we was raised, how we was raised, maybe the schools we went to, maybe we're parents, so we can talk about raising kids, different professions, a whole bunch of different things. But I found that that's a thing where when I have new clients come in, if I ask them certain questions and then we can find a common ground, the conversation just flows at that point. And even with this platform, some of the stories that I tell or the things that I'm speaking on, a lot of people can definitely relate, and some of the things I'm talking about, and realize that, hey, I'm not the only one that deals with this situation, or I have not the only one that has gone through these things in life. And that's why it's good to talk and share our stories, because we all have a lot more in common than what we think. And it just helps the conversation. One thing I also have learned is that a lot of people do not communicate effectively in person. So sometimes, especially depending on what the subject is about, it could be uncomfortable. Maybe you don't feel comfortable talking face to face at first. So with the new technology that we have, a lot of people will choose to text or send emails or things of that nature instead of opening up a conversation face to face. And I think that could be a good thing because sometimes I'm one of those people who cannot or will not talk face to face about a situation or to start a conversation because maybe I'm nervous about it or I just don't have the words that will come out the proper way of face in a face to face conversation. So with the text message or email, I can kind of gather my thoughts and type out what I want to say and then send it. And but one thing about it, especially in this era we're in, texting can not always be the best way. So when I say texting to open up a conversation, it should not always just be, texting and that's it because texting can definitely go wrong with communication. It's not always the best way to communicate, and especially depending on, what the situation is. And like I said, if emotions are involved, you texting can really make things so much worse because it definitely can be perceived differently with different people, and especially depending on the situation, the conversation, what's been talked about, how the person perceives what you're saying. The tone awareness is very important when it comes to texting because we're not able to see each other through text. You don't see my facial expressions, I don't see yours, body language, all of that is taken away. So you can only go by what you think the person is saying. And sometimes, like me, I'm not a great texter. I'm not gonna lie. I prefer to talk face to, on the phone, conversation, in general. Texting, if I didn't have to do it, um, as much, I wouldn't. I would really prefer to just pick up the phone and call someone or have someone call me. But because this is, the era we're in, is people are so busy, then you kind of just have to adjust to it. So I definitely do it. But it has been situations where text has been taken out of context, both ways. And it just really makes me think like, oh man, that's why I'd rather pick up the phone um, to have these conversations. Or if you are initially texting with someone and you see it go left, I don't think it's nothing wrong with saying, hey, that's not how I meant it, how you taking it. Can we have a conversation? And a lot of times that can, um, fix what has gone wrong within that text message. Um, and one major thing with text, like when people use different, like all caps or exclamation marks or different punctuation the wrong way, then you feel like somebody's attacking you depending on what they're saying to you. And you're like, why you typing in all caps? You yelling at me? And I've had this situation a lot with my daughter. We definitely don't see eye to eye when it comes to, how to perceive a text message because this is a different time. They look at things differently, and me, obviously being a lot older than her, really. Um, I was gonna try to like say little because I ain't trying to make myself feel old right now, but no, we are definitely worlds apart when it comes to how we perceive or interpret text messages or just information. Period. Um, when you receive a text message from somebody, it's very important to carefully read the message and then ask clarifying questions if you don't understand. Um, One thing that can happen as well is just misinterpreting, is it not reading it correctly. So you read something and you read it to understand it, but that's not even what they were saying. And that's another part of us always just being in a hurry and such a fast paced life these days that we may not read something the right way and respond, and then they be like, what are you talking about? And before you can even realize what has happened, it's like blown out of proportion. So once again, I really just don't like texting over just having a conversation on the phone. And I'm going to share a little example of that. Um, Back in during the COVID time, when I think it was about the time everything was opening back up and everybody was kind of getting back out after being locked down for so long. Um, Acquaintance of mine had invited me and my family out to have lunch or dinner, and I was open to it. So I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna get together, and I don't want to tell the wrong like what is that because it was a while ago. I think it was 2020 still, so it was towards the end, I believe, and I was looking forward to getting together with her, both our families, to have dinner or whatever. So um, I had said something about COVID and wearing masks, and maybe we were talking about vaccinations and things like that. And all I said was that I was going to continue to wear my mask because, I didn't want to risk contracting the virus and being out and then taking it back to my loved ones who were, older in age and maybe could not fight it off if they were to, get the virus from me. I would never want to do that. So I would still continue wearing my mask. And somehow she misinterpreted what I said and took it as I was saying she was going to give me COVID or her family or something like that. So she kind of just like, well, you know, we don't have to meet. We don't, have to do this because I'm not worried about that or, and then she just kind of took it the wrong way. And I was like, hold on, what happened? What just happened? Because I was so confused. And then in that moment, I realized that through the text, something had went wrong. So I wanted to try to reach out to her. So I called to try to have a conversation on the phone instead of just constantly texting because it was going nowhere. And the person did not answer the phone. So we really never talked about that. And I think from that point, we didn't have another conversation for a while because she felt offended by what I had said, like I was blaming her or insinuating that she would get me sick. And I was just like, yeah. So that's why I prefer to just have a conversation over texting. And fast forward, we did communicate later, and she did say, yes, I misinterpreted that. And to be honest, I think her or someone ended up getting COVID right after that. So sometimes, we just got to follow our hearts and just do what our gut tells us. Because I was definitely open to going, but I was definitely just saying, I'm going to continue to wear my mask because that's when everybody was saying, I'm not wearing my mask anymore. They were telling us we didn't have to, but it still was out there. But I just wish that we could have got on the phone and had that conversation because it was a misunderstanding. Um, so back, piggybacking off what I just said, where it's better to a lot of times get on the phone or face to face instead of text, is when it's really complex conversations or sensitive topics. You don't want to always go to text to do that. A lot of times you need to be able to hear the person's voice, to hear how serious they are, if they're affected by anything you may say. Some conversations should not ever be through text message or email. I think we have gotten so disconnected, or even social media, because a lot of us communicate via the Messenger app, which is connected to Facebook, or in your DMs on Instagram, and however else you communicate, Snapchat, TikTok. A lot of times we can really get lost, or a disconnect can happen because everybody's used to communicating via some type of app instead of actively having conversations with each other. We have definitely got away from that. And I just wish that, especially this newer generation, they don't like to talk on the phone. Everything is through a text message, but it works for them, I guess. It don't work for me. like I said, I go along with it because that's what the norm is right now, and that's just where we are. But I really, really prefer to have conversations face to face about different things or via a phone call. Um, so it was a situation that happened this week, personal situation between me and my daughter, and it had to do with texting. It was a message that she wanted to convey to me, but I felt like that should have been a phone call. So when I was talking about complex conversations or sensitive topics, I felt like that was one of those things, and she should have picked up the phone instead of texting what she texted, because I took it totally out of context, I guess, than what she was trying to convey to me. And one thing I told my husband, because it ended up being a conversation with all three of us, and it was just a lot of misunderstandings throughout the text. And I was like, hey, we need to stop the communication on the phone, actually get on the phone, through text message, and get on the phone and figure out what's going on and really talk to each other. And one of the main points that I took away from that was that when we read text from others in the way that we know that individual to be and from their personalities, we also we pass um we know how we know them to be. I'm gonna start over. When we read text from others in the way that we know that individual to be and from their personality, and also from past interactions we have had with them, good or bad, it the conversation is shaped by our perspectives of the person. So when that person is texting about whatever, and maybe they're texting in all caps, or depending on what the subject matter is about, we can misinterpret it just because maybe we think they have an attitude, or maybe we had a interaction with them recently where they were upset, so we are feeling like it's still carrying over into the text. There's just so many things where it's all about perspective, it's all about interaction, it's all about past interactions, it's all about what you know of that person, what um situation you've had with that person that you may take it wrong. And I feel like once it goes there, we definitely need to do better than continuing with the conversation through text, and get off of that and have a phone call and say, hey, what am I missing? Am I understanding you correctly? Is this is how I took it? Is that right? And that way, things can be nipped in the bud, because we as humans, our feelings get hurt. We say things that the other person may take to heart. And like I said, once those things, whether you saying the words or typing them, once it's out there, you can't take them back. And how that person perceives it changes how you all will interact from that point on. Actually, forever. I think we can get past things, but we never truly come back from being hurt by something someone says to us or how they say it. So it's very important to be mindful when you're communicating through text or even in person. Just be mindful of the person, situation, what they may have been through, if they've communicated to you that certain things trigger them, because we all have past experiences. Me, for example, I don't like anyone to raise their voice or curse at me or anything like that, because I've had that experience as a child, and it very much shaped me to be who I am today, that I really cannot deal with that type of thing. And that's called a trigger. And now I realize that, so I know I can't deal with that. So I try not to be that person to talk to people that way. And if, I ever do, I try to catch myself if they're telling me, you know, I don't appreciate the tone, or please don't speak to me that way, because I can understand, like, okay, my bad, because I don't want it done to me either. So, I just want us to be more mindful moving forward with how we communicate with each other. That helps us cultivate better relationships with individuals. And relationships are important. And I don't care who you are. You can say it don't matter. Everybody needs to have good relationships with people, and not just our family, with friends, with our coworkers, with anyone we may come in contact with. And in the times that we are in, where so many people are going through so many things and so many hurts, it doesn't hurt to, just be kind to someone. Give someone a shoulder to lean on, a kind word, even if you don't know them, because you never know what that person may be going through, and that what you say to them, that they can really change things in their life, or just give them a better perspective, moving forward. That some there still are good people in this world. Everybody is not just out here being mean and evil, and not caring about each other. So this is the third week in December, and I got one more Monday next week, and then we're gonna be into the new year, and I'm really excited about it, because I'm after doing this for 3 months, I kind of see what direction I'm going in, and the changes that I will make moving forward for the new year, and the type of things that I want to do on this platform. Next year, I plan to tell more stories about the things that I might have been through that may be helpful for everyone. And I also want to share, or I plan to share, a lot of my, not a lot, but some of my journal entries that I've written down over the years, that I feel like can, you know, start the conversation for a lot of other things. Um, because some of my entries, I can definitely kind of speak on it, and then I can dissect it week by week. But I also will start having guests on with me, because I see that on this live, YouTube live, you can invite people to join you on the platform, and I want to kind of get more people on here with me, so we can have conversations, and they can have a platform also to tell their stories, and we can, feed off of each other. And I think that would be great, because then you get to see perspectives not only from myself, but from other people that has also, have things they've been through, and that we can show that we are all not that different, and that we all have had different or similar experiences in this life. Who else is on here with me? I see Mike is on here, which he's always supporting me. I love him for that. I see there's one more person on here. Who is that? Can y'all say hi in the chat? And if you don't want to, I get it. So is everyone ready for Christmas? Everybody's done their shopping and got everything they're gonna get? Oh, it's my mother-in-law. Hey. So since it's just these two on here right now, I already know what they got going on. But I'm hoping that everybody will come and continue to catch up on all the videos that's uploaded on here from the beginning. And one thing I'm also going to do, I think towards the end of the year, before the new year come in, I will kind of go back and talk about some of the topics from when I first started. Maybe answer questions that people have had from those previous conversations. I'm gonna start going live a little bit more on the other platforms, maybe Instagram and Facebook, just to try to engage the people that's on there. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about what God is doing in my life right now, the people that He's allowing me to touch, just giving me the confidence to do this, because I think it is a very healing thing, not just for me, but for anyone who may want to, look at these videos, and that they will be available, long from now, where not only individuals that come across on YouTube can watch, but also maybe my future grandchildren, and they can see that their grandmother was someone who, was confident enough and had the courage to get on here and do the work and shine her light to help others. But with that being said, that's all I got for this Monday. And I hope that you all will have a blessed holiday, enjoying time with your family and friends, and that I can see you, or you all can come back next Monday. So make sure you all join me next Monday, the same time and the same place. Y'all have a good night. Thank you. And I plan to, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to do this at this time in my life, because I know it's very much needed, and the people who need to get the message, they will get it. But anyway, y'all have a good night. Bye.